Hi, I'm Tim, and welcome to WatchYouWant.com. Thanks for logging on. Now, it seems like we've had a lot of JLC watches lately, and Jaeger-LeCoultre is near and dear to my heart. I collect them personally, and as you can see, I'm wearing my own Master Moon right now. So, forgive me if I'm a little bit partial here, but this reference right here, the Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Geographic, is one of the signature models of the manufacturer. And it was one of the first complications that came online in the early 90s to really declare that after wandering in the wilderness during the 80s and late 70s, the manufacturer was well and truly back. Now, after that original 1990 to 1996 model came this model. This is the Master Geographic, the first to incorporate the Master 1000 hours control and the Geographic complication in one watch. Now, I'll go over what each one is and what this watch offers specifically as I unpack it on this review, but I've been a little slipshod about the wrist shots lately, so let me try to get this in. Okay, so there you go, 6 1/3 inch wrist, 37.5 millimeter case. This watch is very thin, very traditional in its look, silver on silver when you have the white metal and the silver dial and the silver hands with some heat-blued subdial hands and heat-blued center seconds. It's the picture of elegance. It wears beautifully. It fits under shirt cuffs. I would say that realistically, because the lugs are a little bit thick in design, it can wear on a larger wrist, but it will not penalize a smaller wrist. It's not like trying to wear one of the later 146 cases. This is the code 142 case. So not 41.5 but 37.5. Wears very nicely on an average sized wrist. Sits lightly, very thin. The watch is based on the caliber 929, which was the original Geographic complication. I'm just going to show you what that means. Now, there's a subdial right here at 6 o'clock, and the Geographic is different from a world timer in that you don't see all 24 time zones simultaneously. Rather, what you do is initially you synchronize the two times, and then you rotate through the cities that are in a moving reference ring at the aperture down between roughly 4:30 and 7:30, and as you rotate that, you'll see that the reference time zone moves with respect to the local to show what time it is in the city that's indicated at 6 o'clock. So as you travel, you just set your reference city, one for every one of the world's 24 principal time zones, and the watch automatically adjusts. Now, what's also cool is that right here on the 9 o'clock position of the subdial, you also have an AM/PM indicator for the geographic time. So dark for night, light for day. It's pretty intuitive. And JLC also includes a power reserve. Now, the watch has a power reserve of approximately 45 hours, and it's graphically portrayed on this classical JLC off-center reserve de marche indicator. Much like the reserve de marche model itself, it's a little bit of calculated asymmetry that looks good in the context of a tripartite multi-subdial dial array. You can see that there's one flanking each side of the cannon pinion, and then the classic anchoring dial at 6 o'clock. On the RDM, that's small seconds there. Here, it's the reference time. You do still have the radial date from the RDM right here, and just like the RDM, you do set the date with a pusher right here at about 2 o'clock. So the watch is actually one of the first generation master control models. In addition to the Geographic giving you that reference time zone and the ability to cycle quickly between reference cities as you travel, you also have the Master Control backing the basic integrity of the 929 movement. Master Control is something JLC evolved early in the 90s as their response to the COSC. COSC is done over 2 weeks involving several positions, several temperatures, but all on uncased movements. And casing a movement can really change its performance. There's a lot involved in casing a movement that can alter the tension on the plates, the bridges. You could even accidentally graze the index as you move it from the testing rig into a case, as it's transported from the COSC back to the factory for casing. JLC decided that there was no point in only testing for 2 weeks. 42 days was better, and there was no point in testing a bare movement. A cased watch is what you wear, and that's where Master Control comes from, testing in every position with dynamic testing, including the ability of the watch to wind, power reserve tests, water resistance tests, magnetism, and shock resistance tests, and it's a much more complete test of a watch's accuracy, durability, and regularity in the real world. So the Geographic began to receive the benefit of the Master Control test with this reference right here, the first Master Geographic. That's where the two terms come from, the Master Control and the Geographic complication. This watch is a classic, and it's something that's always been in the JLC lineup since 1990, continuously. To this day, variants of this complication are still sold, and they're still best sellers. When people talk about world timers, they're talking about watches that can sometimes be difficult to read just because of the massive information. And when they talk about dual times, they talk about watches that can portray two time zones, but it's not necessarily intuitive how far ahead or behind you have to set them if you want to take the reference time in a foreign city before making a phone call, before making a bank transfer, before contacting relatives, business partners, or friends. This watch gives you a way to simplify that process while still giving you the best of both a dual time and a world timer. Plus, you have the convenience of a power reserve, which is a romantic, sort of moon phase-esque complication in its own right. Not strictly speaking necessary on an automatic winding 45-hour watch, but it's just a joy to see, to operate, to watch it revive itself each day, whether you wind it yourself and get instant gratification or watch it slowly restore itself as you wear the watch, which is automatic winding all day long. Now, this particular era of the watch featured the rose gold Master Control medallion on the back. Back before the era of display cases at JLC, this inset gold medallion signified the watch's status as a Master Control model, and back in '96, that was not universal. For instance, non-round watches, ladies' watches, all the reversos were not Master Control watches, and in fact were not until 2003. So back in the day, this was quite a substantial and prestigious piece in the JLC lineup. It still looks great, and because JLC hasn't dramatically redesigned the simple dress Master series, this still looks contemporary. If your wrist is better suited to a sub 40mm watch than a super 40, this JLC Master Geographic might be the perfect watch for you. Versatile, complicated, reliable, prestigious, with a great history and a great name backing it. It's available with full boxes and papers on our website, watchyouwant.com. If you want something that's dressy, that's got a pedigree, that has manufacturer watchmaking prowess, but a nice understated look and a flat wear on the wrist, this JLC Master Geographic just may be the watch you want.